I'm a businesswoman, but I'm also a mother. I'm a mother with a dream that every African should realize their potential. Yet Africa is stuck. I'm sure, like me, many of you in this room have had what I call the safari experience. On a recent trip to Dubai, I was being served tea by a wonderful waitress, and we got chatting. And as we chatted, and she asked where I lived, and I said, I live in Ghana. She didn't really know where Ghana was, so I had to describe where it was in Africa. And she said to me, oh, Africa. I'd like to go on safari there one day. We are the only continent who is thought of in the image of our resources and our wildlife. We're the only continent whose people are not viewed as our most treasured and prized asset. This has got to change. We need to create change that starts with a vision that's bigger. One of the things I love to do is watch people. Even more so, I love to learn from visionaries. One visionary I truly admire is Henry Ford. He famously said that if he asked people what they wanted, they would have said, faster horses. You see, he was willing to believe that for the people in his country, it was possible for everyone to own a vehicle, for everyone to drive a car, not just the wealthy few as it was at the time. And he was willing to live through and deliver on that dream. So we need a vision in Africa that tells us that we are more than our oil, than our gold, and definitely more than our wildlife. But you see, the challenge with our vision is that it's not about the fact that somebody else sees us in this way. It's the fact that we still see ourselves in this way. And so we need to tap into that vision that says we are more than what we see around us. We are our potential. Vision is what drives nations. In 1957, Ghana became a country of self-government. Singapore in 1965. I am told that at the time, the two nations have very similar levels of economic development. Yet today, that fact seems unimaginable, further from the truth. You see, Singapore took their vision, and today they have become a global powerhouse. Their first head of state, Lee Kuan Yew, is largely credited with seeing them through this transformation that has made them the nation that they are today. We too had big visions. We had big dreams of greatness and power in Ghana, of changing Africa as a continent. Under the leadership of our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, we had great dreams to be to be a different country. Yet where did our path diverge from Singapore? We diverged in execution. We diverged in follow-through. We diverged in not following through on the vision and the dreams that we had for ourselves in 1957. Yet, closer to home, right here in Africa, Rwanda has demonstrated to us that it's possible to rethink. A little over 2 decades ago, Rwanda experienced what no other country in the world, nobody should have to experience. And yet they were willing to rethink who they are as a nation. And today, under Paul Kagame's leadership, that nation, that small landlocked country, has become a beautiful service-led economy. Some people have gone as far as to call it the Switzerland of Africa. And honestly, I'm not surprised, because when I visited Kigali, I was greeted by clean streets, order. I was greeted by an environment where business had to be done properly. And so Rwanda has demonstrated to us that it's possible to rethink who we are as Africans in the context of our potential. But all isn't lost. It's not lost because we know what to do. We have known what to do for a long time. I'll share with you a story that has been told to me many, many times and continues to inspire me. And I hope that story will provide some inspiration for you as well today. In the 1940s and 50s, 2 Ghanaian families were raising their children. One of those families was in the Ashanti region. And you know what we're like in the Ashanti region. They're strong and, forceful system of government that's existed for a long time. And this family was led by a matriarch. This matriarch was called Ifya. And I suspect behind me now you can see an image of a lady who probably looked something like Ifya looked at the time. She was a farmer. And she decided that she would send her younger children to school. She needed the older ones on the farm, but the younger ones would go to school. And over time, she realized that she had one particularly bright son. She knew that her son could become anything he wanted to. And so she chose to believe, she chose to support, and despite the fact that she needed as many hands as possible on her farms, she made sure that her son went all the way with his education. He went on to become an engineer. The other family was in Greater Accra region. It was led by a patriarch called Yao. He was the chief of his farming community. And he was so proud of his wealth and his achievements that he made it a point to have not only his children, but their children live with him in this big family unit. Yet he too decided that his grandchildren would go to school. And these children would make the long walk to school every single day, sometimes wading through flowing rivers, particularly in the rainy season. And over time, some of these children became tired and they would not want to go to school. And his granddaughter, a very bright one, went to him one day and said, Grandpa, an image of whom I suspect is behind us now, I'm tired of going to school. I've done enough school. Why do I have to keep going to school? But this was a wise old man who could see potential in this young woman. And he said to her, if you don't go to school, who's going to buy tobacco for my pipe in future? Now, I know what you're thinking. In this day and age, that sounds hugely politically incorrect. Child tobacco, so on and so forth. But what this man was saying in his own way was that my wealth is from my farms. My wealth is from what I know what to do. I need you to realize your potential so that you can be whatever you want to be. So that you can one day help change the system of wealth and prosperity in our family. And so he convinced his granddaughter, and she stayed in school. And she went on to finish school and get a job as an administrator at the Meteorological Office of Ghana. Her name is Mary. And I suspect right now you have a real photo of Mary behind me. I always say she looks like a dreamer. She is a very big dreamer. And the young man, our engineer, was called Peter. And Peter also got a job at the Met Office in Ghana. And he's up there right now as well. Now, by now, you've probably guessed where I'm going with this story, Met Office, Met Office. These two young people, pioneers in their own right, met at the Met Office, and they got together, and they went on to have a family together. They had a number of children. And one of their children is a person up on the screen now called Lucy Quist. You see, none of my grandparents had any formal education. None of them spoke a word of English. They were just people who believed in the potential of the people in their families, not in the wealth that they had amassed through their farms, which is valid, but our people are our greatest asset. And so the fact that I stand here in front of you today because some people chose to believe in some people before me to give me the opportunity to be with you today inspires me a great deal. It inspires me that it's possible to change Africa. It inspires me that we should do everything that we can. And so I dream. But I dream that we all take action. We take action to support somebody, to support someone, to support a group of people to realize their potential. I recently started an initiative where we go out to schools and we engage the children. And I have to be very honest with you. On the outset, I thought, how on earth am I going to make time to do that? Does it even matter that I go out and spend time with a group of youngsters once a month for an hour or two? Ladies and gentlemen, it does matter. It matters because I have seen young women who have come out of their shells and said, you know what, I too can do science. I've met young men who now say that their dreams are valid and they will realize their potential because if I can do it, so can they. And even when we get to mentor people and coach people, encourage and support people in smaller groups to realize their potential, we are picking individuals that we believe in. And I know a young lady, for instance, I've spent many, many years with, and she came to me with a whole wide range, a vast spectrum of potential. I admired her greatly, but I said to her, you need to focus. And so we worked together, and I'm proud that today she's on her way to one of the best business schools in the world. I believe that we can do it together. I believe passionately that we can rethink Africa. We can rethink Africa and transform it into a continent where everyone realizes their potential. What a great Africa that would be. An Africa where we all realize our potential. It would be a great Africa for my children, and undoubtedly a great Africa for your children. It would be a great Africa for even their children. Let's be the generation that makes it happen. Mesdames, Moi,